Oh, good morning, guys. I am getting ready for my trip. I'm gonna get the house all together and clean for my husband. I'm gonna go away for 6 days to go see my baby boy. It's a 5-hour trip if you drive, and my mother and I are flying because it's not gonna be easy on her to necessarily to sit in a car that long. So we're gonna fly, which is gonna still take us 5 hours to do. But anyway, I was thinking about I had a subscriber comment that they were interested in more of the sober content, and it got me thinking about the things that kind of happen when you get sober that no one is expecting. They kind of like out of the blue kind of thing. So I thought today, while I'm getting ready, getting the house in order and stuff, that we could just talk about those things. Some of them I think you may be surprised at. Some of them I think that it'll be common knowledge. So anyway, let's get into it. So one of the things that you may have to prepare yourself for, or prepare your emotions and your heart for, is not being invited to places, because that actually happens. You would be surprised how many people cherish the alcohol experience over friendship. That happened to me quite a few times early on. About 15 years ago, I would go back and forth with I'm not drinking, and then I would get lonely. My friends would be hanging out, and their reason for not inviting me was because they were like, well, we know you're not drinking right now. So don't be surprised if that happens. Inevitably, I would be like, well, I want to hang out with my friends. And now I look at it and I'm like, oh, were you guys even my friends? Because my friends now could care less. And honestly, I could care less if they drink around me now, but it was different back then. So that's one. And number two, it goes along kind of with this, is don't be surprised if people are not happy for you. Like, some people really identify with you kind of being a train wreck. They kind of really, their identity is, kind of taking care of you or talking about you or, whatever. So don't be surprised if people are not on board and they want the old fun you back. So anyway, I knew I had a point and I forgot, so I'm slipping this in here. Don't be surprised if people don't believe you, okay? I ran into that. Sometimes we can hide our issues with alcohol so well. People have no idea that you're even struggling. They have not even a clue that you are balls to the wall, hanging from the chandelier, when everybody goes home, you know what I mean? So don't be surprised if you tell people hey, I'm in recovery, I'm not drinking right now, or I'm going alcohol free, and people are going to be like, well, why? You're going to get these looks like, oh my gosh, because let me tell you, people definitely have a vision of what they think an alcoholic is in their head. I did, or an alcohol dependent person, if you don't want to say alcoholic, or someone who just, goes a little in excess, whatever you want to call it. People have this vision in their head of the end of the road, alcoholic, the end of the road where they're, their health is failing there. And it can happen. Trust. That's why I make this content. It can happen. It's like a road, and you need to get off the exit quickly, because the end of the road is hospital, jail, or death. So, but people have this image in their head, and it's not usually, suburban house mom is not usually on the list. Well, yeah, kind of, I guess it is. I guess wine culture makes it that way. But anyway, okay, babbling. Proceed with the video. Just don't be surprised if people didn't know, okay? Okay, number 3, don't be surprised if you have unruly sugar cravings, because alcohol does turn to sugar in the body. So if you start having sugar cravings, and I mean, depending on where you're coming from, if you are, if you're quitting drinking and you were drinking to the point where it's life or death and you have to stop, eat the donut, eat the sugary thing. It's not alcohol. It's not going to hurt you right away. We can work out later. Okay. But if you feel like you can control the craving for sugar, then by all means control it, because number 4, don't be surprised if you lose weight. Don't be because sugar in the body. Also, don't be surprised if you gain weight, because you might be substituting the alcohol. Coco, she's already been fed. I don't know what her deal is. But don't be surprised if you gain a couple pounds too, because if you're eating the sugary things to keep from drinking. Yes, ma'am. Okay, number 5, your emotions are going to come back. Chances are, if you have been drinking and it's just kind of your jam and your go-to, oh, I'm happy, let's celebrate, let's have a drink, or I'm sad, I need a drink. If you've been kind of on that, like, you know, whatever, and now you're not drinking and you've resolved in your mind to not drink, be prepared for those emotions to come back, and understand that awkward silences, it's okay. Uncomfortable feelings are okay, and that it's a good thing that you got your emotions back. Here's the thing, a lot of people get into drinking and drugging and things like that because of a trauma, and to that I say, get some trauma counseling, some therapy if you need it. But here's the great news, you survived the trauma, so let's survive the healing process together. But yeah, you do get a lot of emotions back. And, you know, some days you're going to be, you know, on cloud 9 and feeling great and, you know, having this energy. And some days it's going to feel really, really low, because I think your body and your mind just have to adjust back to being normal and not putting poison in your body. This is what they do when I try to make videos. Crazy dogs. And I think I'll end it here. I may make a playlist for all of like the sober content, but one of the most amazing things that I found after I just completely took drinking off the table, like it is just not an option for me, is my problem solving abilities. You would be amazed at the things that you can figure out, the amount of surrender that you have when you just can't control an outcome of sorts, you know, like that you put it in the God box, you know, like can't control this, I can't change it, it's going in the God box, you know what I mean? But the amount of problem solving ability that comes, the way that you get to know yourself again, you know, the way that you get to understand what your own self needs are, you know, and the way that you figure out, really, if you really examine any situation, there's nothing in the world that a drink will make better. And if you have a problem with excessive drinking, it's always something it can make worse. So if you're willing to sit in uncomfortable spaces with yourself, if you're willing to let the mood or the temptation pass, and you'll get a little bit more strength, you will become a whole new person, and getting to know yourself is going to be really, really cool. So if you're new on your sober journey, hang in there, kid. We got this. I love you guys.